we can't do it. But if we could take that arm tube there, no one in the room can bend it. It's too strong. It's an alloy. It's a silicon, aluminium silicon alloy. The only time you've ever really seen it before is if you look at a jet fighter plane. When it lands and the undercarriage comes down, that's the same material. So it's very light, but it's incredibly strong. There's a competition at the factory. We keep one of these, and all the visitors, if you can bend it, you have free of us.
Okay, that's what it's got. Unknown, after you write unknown.
Yeah, I'm sure someday there'll be a heavyweight champion of the world will come in and he'll get a free across. But the only way we can bend it is if you put it in a clamp, put a metal rod into it, and then use that as a lever, and eventually bend it. But it's a huge amount of force. So we use aluminium head shells. In fact, the material here and the material the candid is made of is the same grade of metal. Remember me talking about trying to create one component here? So if you make it from the same metal, it behaves the same way. We use a two-bearing system, a lateral or a horizontal and a vertical bearing. So one makes it go round, one makes it go up and down. You can't adjust the bearings. There's nothing you can do. The bearing is assembled in reverse order. So to get to the bearing, you have to take out this bolt here, and then the whole thing explodes. Forget it. You never get it back together again. Even at Linn, we're very reluctant to remove these. These and this one here, they're set to a tension, and we use a very accurate torque setting. Yeah, it's not a torque screwdriver out the hardware shop. It's way beyond that. It's a calibrated system we use, and it uses air pressure, so everyone is tightened up to the same torque. You can't duplicate that at home. This has got, what is it? Is it Clyde or is it?
Calma.
So Calma moving coil cartridge, metal body. That was the first metal bodied one we did, proper metal bodied one. We did half plastic, half metal before with ASACs and ASAC-Ts, and the Calma came along. And it's metal because when you want to get it done up tight. And if you go tight on plastic, plastic just breaks. Whereas with metal, you can get a much tighter fix. Later on we added a third bolt here. And what the third bolt does two jobs. One, it's 3 points is more stable than 2 points, so it's a 3-point fixing. But also all the generator, all the forces that are applied down the generator through the cantilever to the diamond, because of the drag, the frictional drag of the vinyl wants to pull the whole thing apart. We use that bolt fixing at the back where it's mounted there. The whole generator assembly is locked at that point as well. So all the force is being transmitted along one line where it's anchored at that end. Shape of the cart, I'm jumping around a little bit, but even the shape of the body of the cartridge makes a difference. We, sorry, Tom. Before the Candid, we had the Akiva, and the Akiva is a metal body, and if you look at it from above, its shape is like that. So one fixing bolt, one fixing bolt, one fixing bolt, and then your cantilever is there. What we learned was that when we wanted to upgrade from an Akiva, make a better cartridge, there was about 15 areas that you can look at. One of them is the shape of the cartridge. And we discovered that if you change the shape, So instead of it being regular 90-degree angles, if you change these angles here, it sounds better. And we don't know why, but we think that what you get here is standing wave behaviour as it moves from side to side in the cartridge. With this, bing, descends it to nowhere. So that's one of the improvements. So a simple change in the shape of the cartridge body improves the sound. But remember, 17 billionths of an inch. So if you've got standing wave moving around inside a cartridge body, that's always opposing the diamond in the groove. So if you reduce it, that diamond spends more time in the groove. Arm board, separate arm collar, sub-chassis underneath, keel, one piece, one piece, one piece. That's the difference. We fix the arm in an intelligent way as well. A lot of tone arms, for example, the project will use 2 bolts at the back to get a tight fixing. We only use 1. How do we make 1 do the job that 2 can do? Again, it's really straightforward engineering. So if you take your arm collar, and then your arm is going to fit in this hole here, a 3-point fixing is your most, this was the best way of doing it. So the way we do it in a project arm is you have a fixing point here, back, you have another fixing bolt here, and that applies pressure there. So that's 3 points. In a Linn tone arm, this is where you apply engineering. We only have 1 bolt that comes in from the side. So if you tighten on that bolt, you've only got 2 points of pressure. Yeah? So all that's going to happen is that arm is just going to rock backwards and forwards. So we fix it, do a very simple thing. We cut another circle here, 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. So we have 3-point fixing, only use 1 bolt. Just see the cut on it.
What is the reason?
That's engineering. That's what engineers do. So, underneath. Let's have a look underneath.
When you do it upside down, we haveมันเยอะ
พอประมาณ 45 หยด
So, there you can see, here's the motor. This is the Valhalla circuit board. There's the little 33 crystal oscillator here. This is the sub-chassis. This is the underside of the tone arm board. And here are 1, 2, 3 suspension springs. There's the metal plate, and here's the bolt that everything clamps together. Here's your tone arm cable. It's always clamped here. Always put a clamp here. One question that sometimes comes up is, what if I drill 2 holes, just run a very short cable to the plinth, and then just connect a phono cable? Simple answer is it won't work. You'll make a noise, but it won't be a very pleasant noise. You're allowing, all you're doing then is, remember I said this suspension system is a filter. If you join the cable straight to the plinth, there's no filter. So all the noise from the motor, from air movement in the plinth, travels straight from those cables, straight into your tone arm, straight into your cartridge. And I know because I've tried it. Tried it myself. Because it seems like a logical thing to do. until you understand how the turntable functions, and then you realise it's just completely the wrong thing to do. What else have we got here?
But the newer version, they have a different hole for the cables.
Oh, you mean this one, right?
Yeah.
No, exactly the same.
This?
Yeah, exactly
Oh,
the
this
same.
one. This one is for
That one's for the power line
yeah,
to
for
go
the
through.
power line.
You find over the years the position of this has moved a centimetre in any direction, but that's for the power line, and that one's to exit.
But I think that the new version is not directly the same. This is like to the left.
Is there?
Yeah.
Someone there?
Yeah.
Slightly off.
Yeah.
Pretty close, pretty close. The one I'm aware of moving is the power line. I know the power line has moved very slightly over the years, and I know that because the new baseboards have the screw in each corner, and sometimes that screw is right by the mains cable.
Cannot put the screw in, otherwise you hit the main
Yeah,
cable.
yeah. The simplest thing to do is just drill a new hole and just put the screw a centimetre further over. It's rare. I have done it, but it's not that common. It's not so common.
I think this hole is cutting about here.
Because the new version, they switch the whole things like this. You know, this.
Yeah.
But the distance is the same, but they just move a little position at the both hole. Right?
The reason we may have done it is as the arm cable's got slightly thicker and heavier, it gets harder and harder to put the crease in it. Yeah.
คือมันย้ายไปทาง
ย้าย
ทั้ง
เส้น
คู่
ทางซ้าย
ทั้งคู่
Okay, so belt goes round. Platter goes on. Drop a mat on if you've got it. Don't if you haven't got one. Generally doesn't matter.
อันนี้ครับ
Don't get them muddled up. Okay. So,
I tighten this.
yeah, there's a tiny little screw.
Yeah, I already. If you want to take out, you have to lose that screw first.
Yeah, you need the smallest
small.
Allen key in the world to do it, yeah.
exactly.
So, your suspension is 3 springs. The first thing you see is they're actually not the same tension. This one's tighter, this one's looser, this one's kind of in between. The basic reason is because there's more weight in this corner because of the tone arm. But it also has another function. When I said these behave as a filter, they're all filtering, because of the tension is slightly different, they're actually filtering at different frequencies. So you get 3 filters for 1 spring. And then your suspension, you simply want it to move up and down nice and evenly. Nothing more, nothing less. And to begin with, you need to set the suspension so it's level. And now I go right back to the beginning. I put a spirit level here. I put a spirit level here. Sub-chassis is flat. Armboard is fixed to the sub-chassis. So now I can use the edge of that armboard, the edge of this armboard here. I can just look at it, and I want it just above the plinth. Just see the edge of the armboard. And by taking, you need a right size spanner. So if I slacken that off, just starts to drop down. Put it back on. Go too far. Now it's too high. Yeah. So just small adjustments here. Just so it's visible. When I'm setting it up, I probably set it very slightly too high, because I know over the day as I set it up, if I leave it running overnight, it will just settle a little bit. And then when I finish off the next day or that afternoon, just bring it back up, and that's it. So over 2, 3, 4, 5 year period, it will probably settle very, very slightly. But it doesn't matter. Again, there's a lot of folk stories about suspension systems on turntables. There's more stories about the Linn because there are more Linns. And most of them are just stories. They're just simply stories. They're just things people tell other people. We call it Chinese whispers. If I say it's Monday, and you whisper it, and you whisper, by the time you get to the last person, it's Saturday. The story changes. The story changes. With an armboard version, where you've got a separate armboard, you do have 3 little screws that hold it on. There's one at the back here, one in the middle here, and then one up here. And again, they need to be tight, but not crazy. You may find if you've got an older turntable that somebody has been too enthusiastic and over-tightened them. 2 choices. Replace the armboard for a new one. It's a really low-cost item, and it's a free upgrade as well. Or use a very slightly larger screw just to find the thread again. Or maybe just take a toothpick, just take the end and just glue it in, let it dry, and then screw it back in again. But your best solution, obviously, is just a new tone arm cable.
Why we need this gauge for?
It's an earthing system, but it's nothing to do with mains voltage. You've got earthing coming out of the tone arm, joining the sub-chassis, and then you're linking the sub-chassis back to this earthing point here. It's a way of just draining noise and energy out of the system.
If without this gauge earthing,
You do hear a small difference.
I see.
You do hear a small difference. You'll find the deck just sounds a bit noisy. It's not huge.
Just to complete
It's
the
not
gauge.
huge. Yeah, just linking that simple little cable makes a difference. If you add a Eureka phono stage later, that's in the wrong position.
I see.
So you'd need to move that earth point here, move it up to here.
I see.
And that will give you the clearance. So, you've got all your suspension nice and level. The way to check the bounce is to tap it about here. Between these 2 points here, along that line, is what they call the centre of gravity. It's the middle of the turntable. So when I see guys hammering it here and hammering it over here, waste of time, because all you do is just make those individual springs bounce. To get all 3 bouncing, you need to find the middle of the turntable. And this is why I always have the jig this way, because I just have so much to rest my arm. It's no more complicated than that. And you can see with me I'm not really tapping that, I'm not pushing that turntable. I'm just tapping, I'm finding the natural rhythm in that spring system. You see it just goes up and down nice and evenly. If it starts squeeging around, then the secret is 3 fingers, finger on, you see the spring is a rubber grommet.
I have a sample here.
Okay, cool.